Daily Mail's going to burst into flames. They're getting so angry because they're banging on about this day after day and they haven't got anywhere yet. They're trying to save Boris Johnson by saying, look, everybody's the same, everybody was at it, that's what they're doing. It's only a fortnight ago they said, don't you know there's a war on? And they tried to say, don't discuss parting it. I've got nothing against Durham police having a look at it. Whether it's a good use of police time, I don't know, because it's very different to what happened in Downing Street, because there it clearly was just entertaining, which is why the Prime Minister's been fined, why they had karaoke, partying on the night of the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral, having birthday cakes, ABBA from the flat. I think it's very different.
But do you believe Sir Keir when he says that it's 10 o'clock on a Friday night, he's having a beer and a curry, and then he's going to get back to work? Yeah,
but well, they'd been out campaigning, and at the time, you were allowed to, at work, to mix. You couldn't do it socially indoors. Now, I'm sure in the Daily Mail newsroom, they were all, doing their work, and then they were all mixing, probably having Fanta and Diet Coke rather than beer, but they would have been doing that. And in fact, Johnson, a week later in County Durham, was photographed in a pub with 10 of his aides having a drink.
What do you
now, when serving people in pubs was wrong, but he could say he'd gone up to the Hartlepool by-election and he was working. And I get that. I think he's right. In fact, the MP, Richard Holden, the Durham MP, who's made a complaint to the police, Labour opponents accused him of wasting police time. A week later, after the Starmer incident, he went out and he had a curry and an orange squash at a work event, and he was entitled to do that. I mean, that's the difference. If you were working, you were allowed to do this. If you weren't working, you couldn't.
Yeah, but they weren't working. They'd stopped by then. Now, look, Sir Beer, as I think he should be hereafter called, he
quite like that, actually.
He knew the rules. You shouldn't socialise indoors except with your household or your support bubble. Campaigners shouldn't meet in groups and certainly not indoors. So he broke the rules. It's the hypocrisy that gets me, Storm. That's what I can't stand. You said he's been banging on about, the Daily Mail's banging on about it, Kevin, but so was Sir Beer banging on about Boris and his birthday cake. It's the hypocrisy. They all broke the rules. They all made the stupid rules, and I think they were stupid, some of them. And they broke the rules.
Do you think it's slightly different
events
though,
are
because
different.
Boris was part of the government that was creating the rules?
Absolutely.
Sir Keir was in opposition. Does it make it slightly different if he was breaking the rules?
He was voting for them, and I remember clearly at the time you couldn't get a cigarette paper between Labour and Conservative, or for that matter, the SNP on this. They all had the same attitude to lockdowns. They all had to be done. We all had to bring these rules
I'm
in.
going to pressure you on this, though, Kevin, because it's 10 o'clock on a Friday night. As you say, they've been out campaigning all day. They've come back in, they've had a beer and a curry. I don't know if the beer makes any difference, actually. But then he's suggesting that he's going back to work. Who goes back to work after, let's say, 10:30 on a Friday night?
Well, when you're campaigning, and look, you live in London, you do stay up, you're talking. And when you're campaigning, it's not knocking on doors all the time. It is having meetings and talking about politics. It was the Hartlepool by-election. Labour lost it badly. So you can see...
As I say,
you don't stop when you're on that campaign trail. I went up another occasion. No, I wasn't in the pub with him, or I wasn't in there. But he came back on the train, and I could hear him talking with his aides. So they were travelling on the train. They were working all the way. That's what they do. They don't stop. I mean, it's a terrible existence being a politician like that.
There's lots of jobs, actually, where you're working quite late into the night. But the police were going after those people, but somehow politicians thought they were exempt, and they're not.
Anyway. Durham police know that it's happened, they're aware of it, they're not investigating as yet, but we'll see whether that changes as time goes on.